Okay. So Nash Fayad is the founder and president of Fayad Law PC. He was born on June 2nd, 1966 in Lebanon, the oldest of three children. In 1986, Mr. Fayad earned a scholarship to the prestigious Russian People's Friendship University in Moscow, Russia, where he received his Bachelor of Arts and Master of Laws degrees with honors in 1992. From 1992 to 1998, he attended the Institute of States and Law of the Russian Academy of Sciences. And in June of 1998, he received his PhD in jurisprudence with honors from the Academy with a specialty in international human rights law. While enrolled in his PhD program, Mr. Fayad co-edited Human Rights for the 21st Century with Vladimir Kartishkin, the chairman of the Russian Presidential Human Rights Committee. In 1998, Mr. Fayad immigrated to the United States. In 2006, Mr. Fayad was sworn in as a proud United States citizen. In 2002, Mr. Fayad earned his Master of Laws degree from the William and Mary School of Law in Williamsburg, Virginia. In July of 2003, he was admitted to the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. That same year, Mr. Fayad worked with the Catholic Diocese of Richmond Refugee and Immigration Services, representing indigent immigrants and refugees with their asylum and refugee cases. Also in 2003, Mr. Fayad joined Affiliated Attorneys in Richmond, where he established the Immigration Law Division for the firm. In 2004, Nash Fayad founded Fayad Law PC, a full-service immigration law firm dedicated to the protection of the rights of immigrants in both family and business immigration cases, and to advancing the cause of human rights and the rights of all persons coming to America seeking freedom from persecution and greater opportunities for themselves and their families. Nash Fayad lives in Chesterfield, Virginia with his wife, Susan. He has 3 sons and 1 daughter.
Thank you for being with us, Mr. Fayad, today. Really, thank you for giving us your time. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here and add the spotlight on you. We would love to really to know a little bit about TPS at the beginning, and then having more information on the new laws.
Sure. First of all, I really want to thank you for inviting me. It is a pleasure to go back and talk to you and to members of your organization. Brings flashback, brings good memories. It's been a while. And thanks for this introduction. And now everybody knows how old I am. Yes. Yes, it's very important to talk about the TPS, and especially that we have several countries of the Arab world have TPS, and especially Syria, since Mozaic is the organization who's hosting this webinar. As you know, the acting DHS secretary had extended the temporary protected status for Syria on January 29, 2021, which allows over 6,700 eligible TPS holders from Syria to reapply. But also the most important thing, that this time they redesignated Syria. This is very important because this will give the opportunity to an approximate 1,800 additional Syrian nationals by the count of the Department of DHS on the time they redesignated Syria to benefit from the TPS. So it is in this designation, this extension and the redesignation are good through September of 2022 for another 18 months. Now, uh, we can talk a little bit about the TPS and what TPS gives and doesn't give.
Mhm.
At the beginning, of course, temporary protected status is given to the nationals of countries who have some um, mass problems in there. Could be national disasters, civil wars, uh, anything that hit the country as a country and makes it very hard for the nationals of this country to return safely to their country.
Mhm.
Um, that's why the United States designates the country as a country that its nationals merit the TPS. And once this country is designated, on the moment or on the day of designation, everybody from this nation and here from Syria who lives in the United States, regardless to their status, whether they are still in a legal status or they are in an illegal status or they entered legally, they didn't enter legally, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
They will be warranted a protection under the US laws, and they will have a temporary legal status in the United States until the situation is different in their country and they can return safely. Now, once someone applies, well, actually, when it's designated, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security gives specific 60 days. Within um, those 60 days, the applicants have to apply. Otherwise, it may affect their ability to receive the temporary protected status. That's why it's very important. We are still within this designation time. It is very important for us to apply to re-register if we are registered. And it's very important for those who did not register to register for TPS. Okay. Now, um, once someone is registered for TPS, they will have a temporarily a status in the United States to be able to live and travel. TPS gives the right to be employed legally and gives the right to travel outside of the United States, even to the country of designation. Um, this is a bit different from the asylum, for example, because those who file for asylum don't have the right to file for employment authorization for a travel document while their petitions are pending. And after they get their um, status approved, they can't travel or should not travel to the country of designation. TPS doesn't prohibit um, from traveling to the country of nationality. So this is in general what is TPS, but this time TPS could have really another aspect and could be a lot more important because um, President Biden's administration uh, proposed an immigration reform, a new immigration law. And last Thursday, not this past Thursday, Thursday of last week, they officially introduced the bill to the Senate, to the Congress, to the House, and to the Senate. And one of the provisions of this law to allow the holders of TPS a fast track to green card. Um, the the law, we can talk about it later. I'm sure there will be questions, but the law creates something called the lawful prospective immigrant status, where the person has to wait uh, in it 6 years, and only 5 years from applying to it has the right to file for green card, except DACA and TPS. If somebody has TPS, can apply for the green card directly, so it saves them a lot of years. So if, and in case, if this law um, passes the Senate, the Congress in general, and is signed into a law by the president, is going to give TPS holders um, a possibility to move to a permanent status. Because as you know, TPS does not give a permanent status. You cannot move from TPS to a green card, and it's called temporary protected status. So this becomes crucial for those who now have the right to apply again, because for 2 terms now Syria wasn't redesignated, was only um, designated last time, I believe, in 2016, and they only extended it. So now this administration came and redesignated Syria. This is very important because a lot of people who came for the last 4 years did not have the right to file for TPS. This redesignation allowed them to file for TPS. So this is in general what is the TPS about, and of course we can discuss it as questions come, or if you have any questions more specific
Absolutely.
about
So
it.
here I have a question here. I received this question. What is the difference between the TPS and asylum?
Okay, this is very, very good question, very important question, and we are asked this question over and over. TPS and asylum have nothing to do with each other. Each one has a different procedures, different uh, purpose. As I said, the TPS is a temporary status given protection for those who uh, are in the United States at the time where something happens in their country, some disaster happened in their country, and it's a mass disaster, right? And as I gave examples, well, Honduras and El Salvador, they had the Hurricane Mitch in 1999 and destroyed most of the countries, and people, the economy was destroyed and they couldn't. So they created uh, the TPS for Honduras and El Salvador. Sudan had a civil war for a long time. They created Lebanon before 1982. They had a war. They had that. Syria one had the civil war, and the country all became unsafe. Also, they gave the TPS. Libya, Yemen. So it has to have something very big in the country. Asylum is um, designated for those who have fear to return to their countries because either they had persecution, they were persecuted before coming to the United States, or while they are in the United States, something happened in their country and they are afraid to go back to their country because they believe that they will be persecuted if they go back. So an asylum seeker can file for asylum even if the country is quiet, there are no like big things, civil wars or anything like, on the surface is so obvious. And asylum is designated for those who have only fear. Um, TPS is not designated only for people who have fear to go back to their countries. As I said, it could be because of some problems, natural disasters, or something else. Now, there are things similar between the two, because in cases of civil war, of course, a lot of people may not be on the side of this party or the other party or the government, or, and the government is not able to control their country, so they are afraid to go back to their country, so they can file for asylum. And in the same time, if this is a massive civil war that affecting the safety of everybody in the entire country, they can file for TPS. So in certain times, and we see it many often, in the situation of Syria, let's say, that people file for asylum and file for TPS at the same time. And there is nothing prevents someone from filing for both of them. So this is the difference between the asylum and the TPS.
So you mean that if like an applicant applied for TPS, they still can apply for asylum at the same time, and the two applications wouldn't contradict each other?
No, they will not. They will not contradict each other's, and they file for TPS. A lot of people decided, and I know many Syrians, many clients of mine, or filed for asylum because asylum will give them on the long term a permanent status, but at the same time filed for TPS because the TPS allowed them to continue traveling. Of course, not to their country. We advise if you are filing for an asylum case, not to travel to your country because you're going to hurt your case. But a lot of people have ties with family members in the Gulf and in other places. So this way they can use the benefit of both of those. So yes, they will not contradict each other's.
So if someone is living now in the United States and they are living illegally, they're like, they came on a visa, whatever visa that was, and it is expired and they couldn't go back. Do they still can apply for TPS, or it has like certain limitation? You mentioned 60 days at the beginning when you were talking about TPS.
Yes. Well, no. If somebody has a visa that is expired a long time ago, or if he has no status at all, or if he crossed the border through Mexico illegally, if was diplomat, was in any status, it doesn't matter. TPS gives protection to the nationals of the country designated as TPS, regardless to what kind of status they have. It doesn't matter what it is. So we don't have to be worried about this. Now, the registration, when the Homeland Security designates a country, gives 60 days for those who want to apply for the TPS. Also gives those 60 days for those who want to register, okay? Now, if somebody for any reason did not apply for TPS within those 60 days, do they leave their right to apply? Not necessary, and not all of them. There are provisions, there are 4 conditions where someone can retain the right to file for TPS even after the 60 days. I'll give an example. The immigration designated, the Department of Homeland Security designated the Syrians for TPS, redesignated now, right? In January 29th of 2021, okay? They gave 60 days to register. I don't exactly remember now the re-registration time.
To the law, yeah.
Sorry?
We can get back to the date.
Right. But let's say they gave the redesignation on the 29th of January, let's say, right? For 60 days. But I am still on a legal visa, immigrant visa. I'm still on a B1, B2, right? Or I am still on an F1 student visa, or an H1B, or any legal status, right? And at this time, I wasn't sure I wanted to file for TPS because I thought, okay, within my 6 months of the B1, B2, I'm gonna return to my country. And then later on, I decided, no, I want to file for TPS. Now, if somebody is in a status, they can continue to file even after those 60 days. However, when their status expires, they have 60 days to file.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So for example, if I am in an asylum claim and I have a asylum case still pending, and I didn't want to file for TPS, and the 60 days passed, but then within the time that my asylum case is still pending, or after I lost this case, I wanted to file, I have 60 days to file, or within the time I'm still legal at any time, okay? So those people have the right to do it. Or they designated Syria, and then husband and wife. The husband decided to file and the wife didn't decide to file.
Mhm.
And then a year later, the wife decided to file. She can still file because her husband filed.
Okay.
Or a minor child didn't file. The
Okay.
minor child still can file because his mother or his father or both have filed.
Mhm.
So there are exceptions. There are situations where the person can still file after the 60 days. But if we want to file, it's better to file within the 60 days registration time and just like be on the safe side.
To avoid conflict. So that would bring me to two questions here, and they are like questions from our clients. The first one is like he was on student visa and he could not come up with the next tuition. So
Yes.
he got terminated.
Uh-huh.
So can he still apply for TPS
Absolutely.
even if he passed the 60 days?
Well, now they re-registered Syrians, so anybody who is in the country now can file for registration. If anybody who
Mhm.
is Syrian that did not apply for TPS in the past, now the re-registration allows them to do. Yes.
Okay.
So anybody, any Syrian now who is in America and don't have TPS and wants to file for TPS has the right to file for TPS. Of course, unless he has a legal status that want to stay in or a permanent resident or something, then they don't need to.
So also another question related to the same case here. Is there any way that his fees of the application could be waived?
Yes, there is a waiver application that can be done, but this is dependent on the circumstances of each one.
I see.
The immigration looks at it case by case.
Sounds great. Okay, one more thing here. Like if somebody applied for TPS and got rejected in the past,
Yes.
can they still reapply?
Well, as a matter of law, yes, they can apply anytime thereafter, but why they were rejected, this is I don't know. I can give a general advice because I don't know the case and I'm not their lawyer, but I can tell you that if somebody was rejected for any reason that is no longer the case now, yes, they can file again. If, for example, they filed and they got rejected because they passed the 60 date and they didn't have any excuse, or they came to the country after the designation, yes, now there is a redesignation, they can apply again. They are not prevented from filing again.
I see. So I think in this case they were rejected because their excuse was not accepted. It was not because of shortcoming of applying or bringing all of the paperwork that they need.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, we didn't talk about who is barred from filing TPS,
Mhm.
and this could be a problem. TPS um, has very strict rules about criminal convictions
Mhm.
and security problems or terrorism or whatever. If
Mhm.
somebody has more than 2 misdemeanors or has a 1 felony, will not be able to apply for TPS. So
Oh,
we need to be very, very careful in getting misdemeanors, especially
so would
misdemeanors.
you give an example about this many?
Misdemeanor? Yeah,
Yes.
I can give you an example. If somebody had a traffic offense more than just like a regular traffic, if it had a reckless driving, can get a misdemeanor. If he had a DUI, driving and drinking, if he had a domestic violence problem, if he had a um, weapon, drug charges, or anything that qualify as misdemeanors, those are misdemeanors. Or if they have a felony, some charges qualify for felonies, robberies, even domestic violence, third DUI or others, depending on the states. We are talking endless possibilities, and every state is different in criminal law.
Right.
One state could be um, a small thing and it's not a misdemeanor. Another thing could be misdemeanor. Whatever it's misdemeanor in Virginia could qualify for a felony in another place. But the general rule is if somebody has more than 2 misdemeanors or 1 felony, they are out.
I see.
And this is very important. Of course, aside from any, other security grounds.
And I'm sure they run their background check, right? Before
Yes.
they, all of that.
They have to do a biometrics. Everybody who files for an application have to go through biometrics, and the fingerprints, the biometrics will be checked against a lot of database, FBI, Homeland Security, local, like state laws and others. Yes.
Mhm. Okay, another case that we have that the wife and husband got divorced.
Mhm.
They had an asylum status before.
Yes.
During the divorce, the man received the green card with the child, while the wife didn't. And because she needed to separate her application. She has to apply for, like, there's a new application she has to fill apparently. So in this case, would she apply for asylum or TPS? What would you advise her?
I can't give a specific advice because I don't know their case and I don't know her circumstances, and I can't give a specific advice on the air. That's definitely is against the law for lawyers to do this.
Definitely.
That will, violate ethical rules. But I can tell you that she has both options available to her, but under strict specific time frame, especially for asylum. If her circumstances have changed, she cannot wait too long to file for asylum because there is the 1 year bar. Someone who wants to file for asylum has to file for asylum within the first year of entering the United States, or if they have change of circumstances. Now, she technically did have an asylum case, or she was dependent on a case, so she will still can retain the right to file for asylum, but she cannot wait too long. For TPS, if she's Syrian and now we have the redesignation, she can file for TPS now. If she had, um, you know, fell off of the asylum case not long ago, she can file under even the old designation. So we need to see. I can't tell. If I'm working on her case, I can decide what strategy is best based on her circumstances, whether asylum is good or TPS is better.
But when you said not too long ago, that falls into 1 year or less or more?
No, for people who are filing based on the change of circumstances, the change of circumstances has to happen within not more than, let's say, 6 months from the change of circumstances. But again, I'm talking a general rule. We need to see what exactly is her circumstances to decide whether this is, whether she can still file for asylum or is better TPS, or both.
I see. So for TPS, usually how long it lasts? Now there, as you mentioned, there is a law in the Congress. They didn't vote for it yet, right?
Yes.
That TPS can apply for green card. But until that happen, for those TPS applicants, so they still have to renew their status every
18 months. Yes.
Every 18.
This re-registration and redesignation is good until September 2022. So we have basically 18 months.
Perfect. And after that, let's say that this law is still pending and or it's rejected. We hope not. What's next for those TPS applicants?
After that, as they say in Arabic, وَيَخْلَقُ اللَّهُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. We don't know. because all depends on the situation in one's country. The Homeland Security, before the expiration of a TPS from each country, they uh, they do fact finding, they gather information, and then based on that, they decide whether they want to continue to designate this country or not. Do they want to redesignate this country or only give extension to those who already have it? I don't think that the designation of Syria is going to end that fast. But I think that if the immigration reform passes before September of 2022, everybody who was on TPS who wants, and I think most of everyone would want, to move from TPS to green card.
Right.
So automatically this TPS for the Syrians will be.
So usually do they like interview those TPS or they just grant them the?
No, there is no grant automatically. Everybody has to go through applications and file, and that would be a process. That would be process that after the Congress approves it and the president signs it into a law, then the immigration prepares the procedures,
Okay.
the applications. There would be new applications that they don't exist at this time. There will be changes in the INA, in the Immigration and Nationality Act, because this is not there. It's similar to what happened in 1996 when the Congress enacted a bill and President Bill Clinton signed it into a law, and it stayed for until April 30th, 2001, when the President Bush came and a new Congress, and they stopped it. The sunset came into an end. So I don't know what is going to happen with this reform now, but it has good chances to be approved this time.
Okay.
For so many reasons.
So I have one question here that somebody had a TPS and then they had to leave the country without travel documents. So they allowed them in, but they lost the TPS. They allowed them into the US again, but they lost the TPS.
So I didn't catch the beginning of it. You said they had a TPS and they went on a travel document and then they came back.
They left the country without travel document.
Okay. And so they came back.
They came back, they allowed them in, but they lost the TPS due to that.
So how did they process them back? Did they put them in removal proceedings?
Good question. I would love that the person who asked me this on private, please write down more information.
Right. But in any way, usually if somebody left without filing a travel document and they came back, even let's say if their visitor's visa was still good and they came back, they may put them in removal proceeding, and if they are in removal proceeding, now they are under the jurisdiction of the judge. Judges accept TPSs too. They may decide to proceed with that, but I don't know. This is very speculative. But here's what I can tell you for those who have questions about their cases specifically, because I'm not going to be able to give them specific advices on the air.
Yeah.
But they are welcome to contact us. Ingi, I think, is still with us. They are welcome to contact us and schedule a 15 minutes free consultation to give us their specific scenario.
Mhm.
Tell them whether we can help them or not, um, and to be able to discuss their cases, because for their own protection, privacy, it's not good to discuss their specific cases and the details of the cases. And I can't give a legal advice,
Without
uh,
knowing all of the
just
details
right and right, just like
and to
in the
preserve,
presence of the entire
definitely.
world.
Okay. So, yeah, I think they said they will book a 15 minutes consultation
Yeah,
with
that's fine.
you. So I'll pass your information to them. One more question here. What is the handicap, or let me say it, in the disability visa? Is there anything that is called disability
No,
visa?
I didn't understand the question. الاحتياجات الخاصة. There is no there is no there is no visa for that. Now, I can tell you the visitor's visa, what they call the visitor's visa, or the B1, B2. The B1, B2 has so many designations. It is to visit the United States. Is it if you are a businessman and you want to come and sign contracts? It is for a researcher to come and attend a seminar or a conference. It is for someone who want to come to for treatment in a hospital. There is for someone who wants to accompany some elderly or somebody who is coming for treatment, but they cannot travel by themselves. This is the visitor, the B1, B2 allows people to come on it. But to give some uh, permanent status or some visa called the special needs visa, there is no special needs visa in the United States, just designated called special needs.
I see. So let me check. I think I had one more question here. And so for those TPS, are they eligible to any of the like governmental aid, such as of food stamps and Medicare or Medicaid? Which one is?
Yeah. Now they can apply for those if they give them, but the government doesn't give, unfortunately, in the United States, even for the for asylum seekers, those who get approved for asylum, they don't give much of help. Um, but if somebody in an asylum status or in a TPS status and they want to apply and then they can get those, it's not gonna jeopardize their cases in the future.
Mhm.
There is the public charge, but the public charge applies for um, different categories, asylees, TPS. It should not be affecting their ability to adjust their status in the future and should not disqualify them based on public charge. And I think that public charge, the new amendment of the public charge that happened during the previous administration, I don't think that is gonna survive for long.
So for those who already are on financial assistance from the government, is this gonna affect or take any toll on their future if the green card bill got approved? Because like that was a threat to them
Right.
during Trump
Right.
administration.
Well, as of now, the public charge law is still there. It's been blocked on and off by different federal judges because people, uh, sued the government, the administration for that. But not everybody, not everybody is affected by the public charge rules. And I gave example, people who are asylum seekers or asylees and many others um, are not affected by that. So we don't want to be very, very scared about it. And also, depending how long this person has been on the public charge, because they said if you have more than 12 months within the last 36 months, then you may be affected. But if somebody had an emergency and got there, some pregnant, some, um, and of course, if this is taken not for their own sake, but for their children, it doesn't count. For the US children also doesn't count. So a lot of situations don't count.
Mhm.
But the law is still there. And I don't know, every situation is different. We can assess our client's situation when we are working on their cases.
Right. Um, so there is also the special immigration visa. It's is it like do you see that any difference between this and the asylum, or between this visa and the refugee visa, those who come through the resettlement agencies,
Yeah.
United Nations?
The IOM, or the ones who come through the refugee program,
Mhm.
they are totally different from that. Anybody comes as a refugee, they do get some assistance from the government for a certain time after they enter the United States. Of course, they are entitled to get benefits. They're entitled to get help. There is no problem. They can start counting toward the citizenship from the day they enter, because they are considered uh, permanently in the country at the moment of entering, versus the asylees. After they get asylum, they start counting 5 year. They count 1 year to file for the green card. After they get the green card, they count another 5 years to become citizen. So it's a long wait. The ones who come as refugees, if they came as refugees 1/1/2015 on 1/1/2020, or 3 months prior to that, they can file for the citizenship. Of course, during that time, they have to file for the green card, but they don't start counting from the day they get the green card. So there are different benefits that the refugees can get. But this is not called the special immigrant status. There is a special immigrant status. It's given for many people. Um, uh, but the special immigrant status, if somebody meant is the one for the domestic violence, for example, um, it is it is a benefit for those who have been subjected to domestic violence by U.S. citizen spouses or children, or green card holder spouses or children or parents. This is a totally different thing. So I didn't know what exactly they meant by the special
So it's
status.
a special immigration visa that they come from also places with distress or war, and they've been allied to the American either army or.
Yeah, this is another situation, and it's not given to every country. It's given to specific countries when the American troops were there. For example, Iraqis can have the the special immigrant status to come to the United States because he either was translators or working with the U.S. Army. In Afghanistan, there is the same program that was awarded. So yes, this is another program.
So for us or as an organization, receiving a few of those cases, I'm not here talking about legally, probably. I don't know if this is, I'm giving you I'm directing this question to you. Hopefully I find an answer, not necessarily to find the answer with you, but what kind of assistance should we give them? Because like we're still unable to know what kind of financial assistance they receive from the government. So,
Well, I mean, if you're talking about those people who come, they come already with green card. They are not entitled to any assistance. They are able to um, work. They are able to do all the stuff. Now, there are a lot of organizations that award assistance. This is based on what those organizations give as financial assistance. There are a lot of community organizations and a lot of non-profit organizations. They have assistance programs.
Mhm.
This is a totally different thing. This is up to organization to give the assistance that they want to give
It's
them.
like, let's say that we're willing, but we don't know what they're receiving from the government. I think we should just check on that. So
Yes.
yes, we would just know what benefits they get, so we would give them something else, whatever. that,
But I want to mention something that the public charge rules are only for public benefits. Like if somebody gets assistance from government, whether it's federal or state or local or any affiliates with federal, state, and local. But if people get assistance from nonprofits or from community or the private um, organizations, that doesn't count against them, receiving benefits.
Right, definitely. Uh-huh. So I think, yeah, the last thing here is about the asylees, after how long they can apply for. You mentioned something at the beginning, that they can start counting their days to green card from when they can apply for their green card.
That's very, very good question. Yes, because a lot of people get confused for the green card and even for the citizenship. When I can file for green card after the asylum, and when can I file for citizenship? All the time that someone is waiting for their interview and therefore for their approval of the asylum, it is not counted toward anything. Okay, so unfortunately we have cases now since 2015, they are still pending, right? And people don't have a decision on them. If I came in 2015 and I got my interview in 2021 in February 29, well, we have 28 this year, February 28, and I get approved in February 28 in 2021. I have to wait until February 28, 2022 to file for green card, Now, I don't know how long the green card process is going to take, but once I receive the green card is going to say resident since whenever the officer issued this green card.
Mm-hmm.
If the green card is resident since, let's say, February 2022, we have to count 5 years from there until 2027 to file for citizenship, minus 90 days, in 4 years and 4 years and 9 months. So filing for green card is exactly 1 year after receiving the approval of asylum. Filing for citizenship is 5 years minus 90 days after receiving the green card, or from the date the green card has. It says resident since. So we check there. If it says resident since 1/1/2021, we will file in September 1st, 2026.
So 5 years minus 90 days.
Yes.
Sounds great. That's please, if anybody have any question, you can either unmute yourself, ask it, or you can send it to the private chat or to the public chat. That was very, very informative, Dr. Nash. I truly appreciate your time. And if until we receive any question or we end, I will just show a quick video about Dr. Nash here. Let me just check, where is my...
Another surprise.
What?
Another surprise.
Let me know, that's not what I wanted to show. 1 second here, let me check. I'll just quickly, okay, here. Yep. So this is a little bit, some information about Dr. Nash and how you can contact him. Whoopsie daisy here.
Hi, I'm Nash Fayad, the founder and managing director of Fayad Law, an immigration law firm with multiple offices and with national and international client base. As a first-generation American, I've had a first-hand experience on how important and how worrisome is an immigration case. In 2003, I built Fayad Law as a firm where every person has a unique story and every case is important from its inception to the end. For almost 2 decades, our staff, our attorneys have assisted countless amount of families to reunite. Our professionals have assisted businesses, entrepreneurs, skilled workers, and others to secure immigration business visas. Our zealous attorneys have represented an enormous amount of clients in their deportation and removal cases before immigration and appellate courts. Immigration law is a very complicated area. If you have a case, don't wait. Contact Fayad Law right now.
I don't know about you, but I hate seeing myself in all my interviews, whether on TV or just like here or anywhere.
You've been very active.
Never happy of myself.
We are very proud to have you in our community, and let me double check here. There's something going on. Sorry.
Question 1.
Okay, here.
And I'm very proud to be part of the community.
Thank you so much. Your Facebook page is very active, and we always like follow you. It's very informative. So, we will direct your information. We will post it on our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so people would be able to easily contact you. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate it and happy to serve. I think that was the question and I interrupted them. I'm sorry.
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you. And thank you, Angie, for being with us as well. Thank you for everyone who attended and everyone who sent questions on private. They didn't attend, but I have received all the questions that I've asked you. I received it yesterday. So this will be on YouTube shortly, and we will share it with you.
I appreciate it, and then we'll see you again
very soon. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.